Well, I finished doing the top of the gazing ball, and of course this will actually be the bottom of the gazing ball when I turn it up the correct way. I really like the bold design. I think it looks really good, and of course I really like the really bold colours that I've chosen as well, and all those reflections. Now, if you're looking at creating a large gazing ball like this, you're going to have to take into account the weight and the size of it. Now, this is not extremely heavy, although it does have some weight to it, but as we add more tessera and grout, it is going to increase that weight. It is very awkward to move on your own, so if you can get someone to give you a hand to turn it and maneuver it so you can certainly mosaic and grout it, then it's going to make it a lot easier. So it is advisable to, instead of trying to move it on your own, get someone to give you a hand so that they can help you maneuver it into the position that you want. And although I can kind of nudge it around here and there, it takes an awful lot of effort to do that. So you are better off having someone to give you a hand. Now I'm going to be using Litokol epoxy grout, and this is a waterproof grout. It's smoother than sanded grout, and it's also more durable than sanded grout. Now if you want to know how to mix this up, I have created a video on it, and I'll put a link up the top of the screen here somewhere in case you'd like to click on that link, and that will take you to the video. But I'll go and mix this off screen, and then we'll come back and I will begin the grouting process. Well, I'm good to go. All I'm going to use is this ice cream stick and apply it on, and I'm going to use my hands. Now some people use rubber kidneys, which is fine, but I like to use my hands to actually push it all into the grout lines, and especially these ones here, these wider gaps that are going to create, hopefully, what I consider to be my really nice black lines. So anyway, I'll get started and get into it. Now I'm going to let this sit for a while, and then I'm going to come back with a clean rag and wipe it all over. Now I know there's no epoxy residue on any of this tessera, because when I start using the scourer, you can feel the drag of the epoxy with the scourer, and then after you've done it a few times, then you can tell that that scourer tends to slide over the tessera and that drag tends to go. So by the time you're using your yellow sponge, by the time you finish, you shouldn't have any epoxy residue on this. And if you're still using your yellow sponge and it feels like it's dragging over the tessera, then the chances are you need to use more water, because by the time you finish, these tiles should be very, very clean and no epoxy residue on them at all. Now, when you're doing this, preferably do it outside. I'm doing this in the studio. I have a concrete floor, but I have got some epoxy grout on the floor and I have some water on the floor, because when you're doing a sphere, the epoxy grout, you tend to flick it down on the floor because it's a sphere and not a flat surface. So preferably when you're doing anything like this, I always grout outside anyway, but in this particular instance, the ball is just too difficult and it has a bit of weight in it for me to move on my own. So that's why I've done it inside. So anyway, I'll be back later to give this a final wipe over, and then we'll come back and have a look at this particular area completely finished. Well, there you go. The tessera is all clean and I think it's coming up really quite well. I've removed all the masking tape from around the edge of the mosaic, and the Liticol epoxy grout has also hardened up. So overall, I'm really quite happy with how this gazing ball is progressing. Now, the next step is to actually maneuver the gazing ball and turn it, so as I can begin adding the mosaic flowers around the edge there. Now, when we come back in the next video, I will give you a progress report and show you what I've done in the way of the mosaic flowers and show you what I'm doing. And I'd like to also take this opportunity to give a thanks to Kay Bishop, one of my YouTube subscribers, who gave a super thanks donation to me, and I appreciate that, and that will go into more mosaic materials. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've taken something away from it. If you have any comments, put them down in the bottom of the comment section on the YouTube channel. Perhaps you would change something on this, or perhaps you would do a different design. Put your thoughts down in there, and I'm interested in reading them, and I know my other subscribers are as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy.